Hello and welcome back to NA Turbo. So I've actually had a few days off work in this past week, and with Ryan's help I thought I'd try and move Project Hannibal the Supra along a little bit more, at least anyway. So there's plenty of videos on him in the back catalogue, but just quickly in case you don't know. So Hannibal is our 1990 Mark III Supra 7M GTE, so it's a turbo auto manual. We've had him probably about 15-20 years. Long story short, that you'll see in the back of the video catalogues anyway. He was a rescue. We found him abandoned, wrote off to the DVLA, etc. Got V5s issued, so he was on the road. Our dad had him, then he was put off the road for about 10 years. Then myself and Ryan put him back on the road, so you'll see that again in the back catalogue bits about that. But took him off the road last year because second time his head gasket failed, but also the rust in him was getting too much really. So I decided the head gaskets would prompt me into taking him off the road, and then I thought it's time to get stuck into the rust. And yeah, many years of both myself and my dad bodging in with filler, painting things, it's obviously taking its toll. So we've started the strip down now and cutting out of the rust. So this is just a brief video to show you what we've sort of done over the last few days. So if I take you in his hatchback, you'll see now that the whole of the interior is pretty much stripped here. So a lot of his rust is concentrated around the arches on both sides of the car and then into the sills. But obviously some of that's gone through to the inner arch tubs, which you can see, particularly on this side. If I take you in, so you can see there is a whacking hole here, and you can see daylight through. So it had been bleeding rust dribbles, as you can see down here. And we actually thought it was coming from this window that we've now took out. But obviously taking off the speaker and everything that's here, you can actually now see that the rust was coming through this inner arch, because this is the outer of the wheel well. So all the muck from the wheels gets chucked up and kind of lands in this spot here, which is why it's sort of rotted out here. So the other thing we've done, obviously for safety of welding, but also this car's had a fuel vapory smell from the back, more than normal, because obviously these are not sort of anti-tamper, anti-steel proof tanks at this age. So there will always be some little bit of vapor, but it's always had a sort of fairly large vapor smell. And looking underneath it when I've been sort of poking him and various things, you can see that the tank is, we don't quite know yet. I suspect it's not savable. It might be something we'll have to look at, because trying to get hold of a tank of one of these that's not rotted, because it's metal, is quite hard work. So yeah, we may end up having to work with what we've got, but I'm hoping I'll be able to source another one from the USA. But that's in the future anyway. So this is how it is at the moment. So as you'll see, we've had the boot lining out, seatbelt anchorage goes up there, so that's out. This was into the fuel tank, so we had to take that out to drop down the tank, and as you can see now, that's the spare wheel well, but there is no fuel tank. So what I'll do first is, given we're on the fuel tank subject, without making you too sick, I'll just whip you over here to the fuel tank. So here is, if I just remove this, here is Hannibal's fuel tank. So it looks okay from the outside until you start getting down to these seams. And this is actually the better side. But you can see here there's evidence of it blowing out between the two seams. But if we sort of come back here, this is the fuel pipe. Again, we would have had no hope of getting that off, because just sort of look at the bolts. But if I move it round a little, yeah, you can see it's really blowing out on these edges here. So whilst kind of looks okay on top, it's, you know, around here, we'll have to take a view on it. One of the fuel lines, actually, this one here, sheared off while we were just sort of getting the tank down, so that had rotted pretty much all the way through. So again, it was a good time to take it off the road. So yeah, metal fuel tank. Underside of it, it's actually very good because Toyota basically left the underside covered, so any muck that comes up washes off, etc. What they chose to do, and you can see some elements of it here, this is to stop it bashing on the bodywork, but it also had a plastic cover along here and across this top section, and so that basically just trapped all the muck and debris onto the top of the tank. So effectively it then traps it and rots it. So less than desirable, but that's his tank out, so we'll have to come back to that and sort of see what's happening. So if I come back round now to the car, so we've put stuff back away in the garage again, but spoiler is off, so that was covering this side. So what we've also done in here, there was an electric aerial here, which our dad tried to cover up with a bit of metal and filler, but I'm going to weld that up properly so that's not there anymore, because it's got a DAB radio in it, so doesn't need that. And then here, this is the rear quarter window we took out, because there's some rust here. If we sort of go down and in, this is actually really savable, it's just surface rust, but it was already starting to bleed out of there and onto the paint, which without taking this window out, came to here, you would never have seen. So that's that. What else? So that's all okay, that just needs treating and finishing. And then yeah, this is the arch we've looked at before that we need to sort of finish off and get some more metal into it. So now that the tank's off, we can also see how bad it is down here. So this is probably going to need chopping out to about here. And then obviously on the inside, there's a lot of work to do, sort of probably through layers to build it up with Ryan's help. So that's there. So yeah, that's where we sort of got to so far. So next stage is hopefully going to cut this part of the rear arch out where the line is on here. We've only got the outer and a little bit of the inner skin, so we're going to separate the little bit of the inner skin we've got, clean the hell out of it, make sure there's no rot in there. And then here, we're then going to start welding in that piece. And then Ryan's suggestion is that we go backwards. So we work backwards and fix this section here and here before we then start going forwards. So that's just a little update on where we've got to in these last few days. It'll take me some more time off work, but once we've done that, we can go from there. But thanks for watching. Do hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.